Significant breaking news just into CNN. A D.C. appeals court has just ordered a federal judge to dismiss, Jim, the entire case against Michael Flynn.
Well, it's remarkable, right? Because this was a case brought by this Justice Department and then reversed by this Justice Department.
Yeah.
By the way, he pleaded guilty. Surprise conclusion, long-running fight. For more on this, let's go to senior justice correspondent Evan Perez. Evan, a 2-1 decision here, obviously a tight decision. Was this a surprise, and is this the end of the road here?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise because of the way the judges were asking questions. It seemed, at least, that they were going to let the judge have his hearing. The Judge Sullivan, Emmet Sullivan, had scheduled a hearing in a couple of weeks to hear some of this, and we thought at least they would let that proceed. But now the judges have come back and said that really, in the end, there is only one answer, which is that prosecutors, that the Justice Department has the discretion to dismiss this case. They're the only ones that can prosecute a case. They're the only ones that can actually bring charges, and that's just the way the system works. Naomi Rao, the Trump appointee, wrote the decision, and she explains essentially that there is no other choice here, that the judge must follow the Justice Department's argument, which is that new information has come forward, and that is the reason why they want to drop these charges against Michael Flynn.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating, and as Jim said, that he had pleaded guilty originally and then withdrawn that. Such a reversal. Twice, you're right. In hours, by the way, something else pretty remarkable is going to happen. 2 federal prosecutors are going to go under oath before the Judiciary Committee and testify that Attorney General William Barr and the Justice Department have politicized multiple recent investigations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a big deal. The idea that you have 2 current career prosecutors going before the House of Representatives to say that, from their experience, from what they have witnessed, the Justice Department under Attorney General Barr is operating in a politicized manner, that he is intervening on things, for the sake of politics. It's not a very normal thing to see. And so what we hear from Aaron Zelinsky, who is one of the prosecutors in the case against Roger Stone, he says that what he was told is that the defendant, in this case Roger Stone, was being treated specially simply because of his relationship with the president. And he says that there was an order to soften the recommended sentence for Roger Stone simply because the U.S. attorney, the acting U.S. attorney, was afraid of the president. The president had been tweeting about the case, had been assailing the Justice Department, and the order came from Attorney General Barr to lower that sentence. So we'll hear from Zelinsky, and another prosecutor also making the same allegations that Barr is politicizing the department, guys.
Yeah, and that allegation comes from inside the department, right? These are Justice Department lawyers themselves. Evan Perez, good to have you on both stories. So let's break it down a bit. With us now, Eli Honig. He's himself a former federal and state prosecutor, former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. So you got experience on the inside, Eli. Look at the collection of these cases here. I mean, let's start with overturning the whole Flynn investigation, which was brought by the Justice Department under a Trump appointee and then reversed by the Justice Department under a Trump appointee. Are you surprised by this? Do you see politics in this?
I am a bit surprised, Jim, and I do see politics, but I think it's important that people understand the decision that just came out from the Court of Appeals, what it is and is not. What it is a procedural decision. The ruling is, like it or not, it's up to the Justice Department, not the judiciary, not judges, to decide whether to proceed with a prosecution here. What the decision is not is essentially a blessing or saying that everything that happened in Flynn is okay. The court does not address that. And if you look at what happened in Michael Flynn, it's completely abnormal. It's completely unacceptable to have the Justice Department come in for a defendant who has pled guilty and say, now we want to drop the case. That is not normal. That is not okay. The court opinion today does not bless that.
Right. Well, it doesn't, and that's a good point, because it says that the district judge currently presiding over the case has yet to decide on the government's motion. They talk about a scheduled hearing for July 16th, 2020. Where could this go next, or is it case closed for Michael Flynn?
It's pretty close to case closed. There could be what's called en banc review, meaning review by the entire Court of Appeals. We're actually seeing that now in the Don McGahn dispute. That is very rarely granted. And theoretically, this opinion could be appealed to the Supreme Court, although it's not clear who would do that. The district judge, that's sort of procedurally awkward. So it's pretty close to the end of the road. But again, let's not let this go down as if everything that happened in the Michael Flynn case was okay, because it's not, and that's not what today's ruling says.
True, except he would go free, right? I mean, you got to look at the bottom line sometimes, I suppose. Okay, other thing happening today, and here you have Justice Department prosecutors, career Justice Department prosecutors accusing the Barr-led Justice Department of politicizing two major cases, right? One on the Roger Stone sentencing, but also on an antitrust case against marijuana firms. Tell us the significance of this.
Yeah, Jim, this is something that I've never seen before, and I keep saying that I've never seen anything like this, and then it gets worse and worse. But to see an active career prosecutor like Aaron Zielinski get on the stand, we've read his opening statement today, and say, the reason we acted a certain way in the Roger Stone case, the reason that the Department of Justice recommended leniency is for political reasons. It's because supervisors, high-ranking people at the Justice Department were trying to do Donald Trump's bidding. That is just completely unprecedented. And by the way, it's no surprise. It's part of a pattern. I mean, Bill Barr has been in office as Attorney General for about a year and a half. We've seen him whitewash the Mueller report, try to squash the Ukraine whistleblower complaint. We saw the Michael Flynn case. We saw just this weekend with Bill Barr trying to move new people into the Southern District of New York. So it's not like this is coming out of the blue. This is part of a pattern of abuse by Bill Barr.
Elie Honig, thanks. Big day ahead for that hearing. We appreciate you.